What is up, friends? Star Trek Lower Decks premiered today on CBS All Access, and I thought it was a ton of fun, so let's talk about it. Spoilers ahead for the entire first episode. This show has unfortunately had a ton of negative buzz, but I think it's undeserved. Overall, Lower Decks felt fast-paced and fun while also showing a genuine love and respect for the details and lore of the Trek universe. Personally, my favorite Trek series is The Next Generation, and it's super clear that this show is heavily inspired by that era of the franchise. Creator Mike McMahon, a Rick and Morty alum, is known for his parody Twitter account TNG Season 8 that would pitch comedic premises for new episodes of The Next Generation. He's truly the right creative to run a comedic Star Trek show, and I'm glad he got the gig. Right off the bat, the series title sequence is so great. It perfectly emulates the style of TNG, DS9, and Voyager's intros while giving us a comedic spin. The USS Cerritos basically stumbles its way through space. The music feels really evocative of the TNG score, it's a great theme. Also, can I just say that all of the space imagery and ship illustrations are gorgeous in this show? This opening shot of Douglas Station is stunning. I really hope we get a lot of good ship interaction throughout the series because this style just works for me. As the title for the show suggests, the main characters of the series are not the bridge crew like your typical Trek series. They're all lower-ranking ensigns who operate in the bowels of the USS Cerritos. This actually gives us a really interesting point of view and much different dynamics than we would get in other Trek series. The main characters are Brad Boimler, Beckett Mariner, Devana Tendi, and Sam Rutherford. Boimler has very much bought into the Starfleet way of life and hopes to work his way up to captain one day, while Mariner has actually already been a senior officer and has since been demoted. Over the course of the episode, we get hints that while Mariner writes off the Starfleet way of life, she seems to have good intentions overall and issues with how Starfleet gets things done. Boimler is actually asked to report all of Mariner's rule violations to the captain of the ship, but through his adventure with Mariner, he starts to feel differently about the senior officers. I thought this was a really fascinating perspective. At the end of the day, Boimler helped solve a ship-wide rage virus, but the senior medical officer is given all of the glory. In general, in Star Trek, the underlings in Starfleet don't really get much love or attention, and I really enjoyed this point of view. We also learned by the end of the episode that Mariner's mother is actually the captain of the Cerritos, and her father is an admiral, which gives us a little bit more insight into her backstory and distaste for Starfleet senior officers. I'm really eager to learn exactly what event led to her demotion.
Whenever you think for yourself, they knock you back down.
In a lot of different ways, all of the main characters sort of represent audience/fan surrogates. They seem to have the same love and reverence for various aspects of Trek history and minutiae that the fan base is known for. Tendi joins the Cerritos and is instantly awestruck by the entire operation. Rutherford literally passes up an opportunity to get laid because he needs to figure out why the maintenance hatch doors don't recognize their comm badges. It's the kind of tiny details that the fans love to obsess over. I think this is a nice touch. Boimler obviously reveres the senior officers and wants to be a captain, and while Mariner has issues with Starfleet, she regurgitates all of her favorite historical Trek lore at the end of the episode, mentions events from Star Trek 2 through 4, bringing up Deanna Troi, Spock, Sulu, and even saying she'll be Boimler's Shadik, a Klingon concept introduced in the TNG episode Sins of the Father. Even the concept of the episode, Second Contact, is something fascinating that I hardly thought about previously. We all know about First Contact, but after meeting the Federation, there does have to be ongoing communication and support for those civilizations. So it was cool to think about the ground team that has to go in and help give them that support after the fact. The show also features Acacian as the senior medical officer, and I would have been super disappointed if it didn't have some references back to the classic Star Trek animated series. While the show does move at breakneck speed, which is not typical of Trek, I think it actually fits really well for this series. Most Trek series are focused on the bridge crew, who generally have to make very calculated decisions, which allows the show to move at a slower pace and breathe. But this show is focused on the underlings of the ship, who just have to react and follow orders. It makes sense that events would feel like they're moving at warp speed for the folks on the lower decks. Overall, I really enjoyed this first episode. It simultaneously evoked the best Next Generation vibes while also feeling like its own fun new type of Trek. I love that CBS is experimenting with the franchise, and I think they've chosen a great team to explore a comedic take on Star Trek, and I'm really excited to see where the series goes from here. The This Season on Lower Decks montage showed some really exciting looking stuff. Also, just a heads up for the Trekkie viewers, I haven't seen every piece of Trek media out there, but I have seen a lot of it. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I'm still making my way through the 90s series though, so there may be some references I miss or ones that fly over my head, but I really want to ask you guys, if I miss anything, please feel free to throw them down in the comments. I want to learn about that stuff. And let me know if you'd like me to keep covering Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm definitely considering weekly episode reviews, though I could shift to doing a full season review when it's all over. Haven't really decided yet, but let me know below in the comments. Also, if you like this review, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and check out some of my other cartoon analysis. I'd love to geek out with you guys about this kind of stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Live long and prosper.
Johnny to Cellos!